My name's Jade, I'm part of the John Richard team and I'm a qualified yoga instructor. Today we're going to be practicing a slow flow. It's completely floor-based and the intention of the class is to help us cultivate a meditative mind, a meditative mood. It's about relaxing the mind and body to just try and help us reset and to get into a healthy mindset. Let us begin, before I talk any further, with a few centering deep breaths. This is about pressing pause and resetting. We're going to take a few moments here. We're just focusing in on the breath. You can sit cross-legged on the floor if this feels good to you. Or you can, if you're on the floor, you can rest your back against something nice and long and you can just have your legs falling out either straight, or you can have them up a bit if that feels good. I quite like to have mine crossed. Wherever you are, I want you to feel the connection of your sit bones against the floor or whatever you're sitting on, and feel that your spine is lifting up from your hips and nice and long. For me, I'm feeling a nice connection with the wall that's just helping to keep me nice and upright. Shoulders are down and away from your ears, and there's a nice lengthening in the chest and heart. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Close your eyes. Inhale through the nose and let out a sigh as you exhale through the mouth. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. One final time. Inhale through the nose. And a nice big sigh. You can keep your eyes closed here, or if like me you find that difficult, I invite you to open your eyes but to keep a soft focus on one point so we're not darting around the room. You can have your palms facing downwards and on your knees, and I just want you to take a few moments to sink into the room, to sink into the house, to sink into the practice. There'll be noises, there'll be some distractions. It's not about trying to block them out, it's about just trying to ease into where we are, feeling the body, feeling the breath, and just changing our focus. This can be really difficult for most of us that are used to just jumping around at 1,000,000 miles an hour, thinking of 1,000 things at once, mind in one place, body in another. So know that there is discipline just in these simple poses. There is growth in these simple poses that we're going to be practicing today. When you're ready, open your eyes if they were closed, and let us begin. The class today is available to anyone. I don't know if I've said this already, from seasoned yogi to total beginner. It's suitable for pregnant people. There might just be a few modifications here and there. There's a little bit of work on the knees, the hips, the shoulders, the wrists. We're just trying to ease out those general stresses and strains that we pick up throughout the day. So when it comes to our final relaxation, our body hopefully feels nice and juicy for us to really sink into it. Like I said, it's about cultivating a meditative mood today. So it's slow, it's rhythmic, and we're going to be talking about the breath a lot. I have got a yoga mat because I'm on a hard floor. You don't need a yoga mat. Feel free to bring a few blankets. I've got some blankets, I've got a duvet, I've got the photo album here, just to have a few things to hand. I've got some yoga blocks. You don't need them, hardback books are fine. I like to have some music playing in the background. Again, build your nest however serves you best, you do you. We're going to start by doing some cat-cow. So we come into something called tabletop position. So I'll just move my paraphernalia out the way and I'll turn the music slightly down. I didn't say that this is my first ever recording of a yoga video, so I hope for the most part that I am actually in the frame. So we have, we're coming into tabletop position here. Maybe I'll tuck this in so you can see me a little bit better. So my wrists, elbows and shoulders are in a line. My back is nice and straight. I'm planting my hands in the ground and I'm pushing away from them while rolling my shoulders down and away from my spine. Hopefully, if you had a drink and you placed it on my back, it would just stay put. As we inhale, you're going to fan the tailbone out and lift the head and gaze up towards the sky. As you exhale, we're going to roll the spine and bring the gaze in towards the belly button. You're going to feel a stretch in those shoulder blades here. Inhale, push the heart through the arms and turn the gaze up towards the sky. Remember to fan out that tailbone. As you exhale, round the spine and bring the gaze in towards the belly button. Take a few rounds like this, remembering to plant the hands firmly on the ground, remembering to sync the movement with your breath. So as you exhale, you're rounding, and as you inhale, you're lifting your heart and gaze up towards the spine, towards the sky. I said spine. See, I do it all the time and I get confused. Good. We're waking up the spine here. This can feel really good for most of us that are sat for long periods of the day in front of computers. So we're going to add to this move now. So on the inhale, we're going to come up into cow, and as we exhale, we're going to round the spine and turn the gaze inwards. And then as we inhale, we're going to come to tabletop, and then as we exhale, we're coming into something called child pose. So we're pushing the hips back and we're leaving our hands planted onto the ground, and we're going to bring that point between the eyebrow onto the mat. If you do not reach the floor, you can make a cushion with your hands, or you can grab a block or book or whatever you need right now. Okay, so on the inhale, come up to tabletop and up to cow pose. As you exhale, round the spine and bring the gaze in towards the belly button. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Let's take this a few more times. So inhale, tabletop, and straight into your gaze upwards, fanning the tailbone outwards. As you exhale, round the spine, turn the gaze inwards. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. This is our last time, so inhale, come up, gaze turns upwards. Exhale, round the spine and bring the gaze in towards that belly button. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. You can rest in child's pose for a moment, and you can bring your arms out to the side of your body, resting the point between your eyebrows onto something, so you are planted as opposed to kind of waving around in air. We're stretching the spine here. We're giving a nice opening in the lower back. Take a few breaths. Very nice. We're going to come straight into a balancing pose here. Now, balancing poses are said to aid concentration and to help if we're dealing with any anxiety, any stress. So this can be a good one to be practicing. So come back to this tabletop position again. Remember to plant the hands firmly into the ground, to roll the shoulders down and away from the ears, and you can gently have that belly button pulling in towards the spine. If you are pregnant, don't worry too much about compressing into the spine. Just leave it there. Just leave it alone. Don't pull in. Okay, so pushing your hands away from the floor. We're in tabletop. As I said, we're working on balance. So my gaze is a little bit in front of me. So I've got a nice long neck as opposed to compressing and looking kind of into my body here. I'm going to see if you can see me. Oh, I'm going to have to move up a little bit. Okay, so when I'm ready, I'm going to take the right leg behind me and the toe rests onto the ground. That's it. I might come a bit more forward. There you go. When I'm ready, I'm going to lift that leg. Ideally, it'll be in line with my hip. I don't always do that. I'm sure when I watch this video back, I'll think I could have done that more. So that's what you want to work on, seeing if you can get a nice beautiful line here. The sole of the foot is parallel with the back wall, so my toes are facing towards the ground. So take a few minutes here to feel that, and then when you're ready, if you're ready, I want you to raise the left arm so it tracks the ear. So I'm being pulled in two different directions here. I'm being pulled from my leg and I'm being pulled from my left arm. Take 3 breaths. And then come back when you're ready by placing the hand down and then the leg down. A lot of this pose is that feeling of wanting 2 things at once, which I think is something we can all relate to. Okay, so we'll come down on the other side. I'll turn round. So again, set up your tabletop position, then place that leg out. When you're ready, lift it up. Try and have a nice long line with your hips. Your toes are facing down towards the ground. When you're ready, lift up the opposite arm so it's tracking with your ear. And I want you to focus on length, that you're being pulled in those opposite directions, but it's the connection to your core that's going to keep you stable here. Working with the breath, 3 nice deep breaths. Focusing on one point. When you're ready, place the hands down. Go back to tabletop and we'll take a child's pose. So toes are together, push the hips back, your knees are facing outwards. The point between your eyebrow comes to rest on the floor or the mat. Your wrist, a book, whatever you have. You can leave your arms out in front of you or bring them to the side of your body. Take a few breaths here. When you are ready, come to meet me in the centre of the mat, and we are going to go into some wrist stretches. So if, like me, you have been spending more time in front of the computer recently or swiping, this can be a really good counter stretch to ease out those some tension in your wrists. So I'm just wondering if I'm the best here. No, I'll do it this way. I think you can see me there. Okay, so starting in tabletop, or you can come down, I suppose. No, tabletop. So let's start with planting our hands firmly on the ground. The fingers are facing forwards and we're slightly rotating our shoulders. Okay. Now, I want you to turn your hands out to the side so your fingers are facing the side of the room. If that's enough of a stretch for you, that's fine, leave it there. If you want to take it a little bit further, I invite you to bring your fingers in towards your body. Probably feeling that now. If you want to take it a little bit further, if you bring your hips back an inch or so, you're going to get a more intense stretch. So take a few breaths, around 3 breaths. That should take around 30 seconds. That's usually about the length of time it takes the body to react to a stretch. Good stuff. Bring your hands halfway and then to the front. Give them a shake. We're going to go into some shoulder stretches. Again, we're in this position quite a lot, so it's really heart opening to get those shoulders to ease out those stresses and strains. So we're going to come into this kind of position. If this is super difficult for you, I like to put something in between my knees like this, and it just creates some space which allows me to sit for longer. Hopefully that'll help you. If not, you can do this pose, so you can't really see my head there, but that doesn't matter. You can do this pose like this. Just make sure that your arm can go behind you and in front of you, and you're not going to bang into anything. Okay, so I'm going to set myself up. There you are. Hopefully I can get my back and still be in the frame. Maybe you can see my head, maybe you can't. Okay, so we're going to start by clenching the right fist and having it beside your hip. Gorgeous. Your shoulders are down and away from your ear. Your heart and chest is slightly lifted up. Your spine is nice and long. Okay. On the inhale, I'm going to ask you to lift your arm up and forward and in line with your ear. Beautiful. There'll already be a little bit of tension starting. When you get to the top, and just before we're going to start that exhale, you're going to rotate the shoulder so the palm now is facing the opposite direction, and you're going to bring the arm behind you. The work is to keep that torso, which I can see I'm not doing, forward. Okay. Inhale, rotate, exhale. Inhale, rotate, exhale. Let's do the opposite side. I'm just moving that so I don't catch it on my arm. So make a fist, bring it in line with your hip. On the inhale, bring the arm up in line with the ear. On the exhale, rotate the shoulder so the palm's now facing away from you. See, I'm hitting the wall a little bit there. Exhale, rotate and down. Inhale, rotate and down. Good. We're going to add to this slightly. So what we're going to do is start by clenching that right fist. This time on the inhale, you're going to bring it behind you. When you reach the top of your motion, you're going to rotate your arm so your palm now is facing, facing the side of the room, and you're going to come up to your ear, and then on the exhale, you're going to bring it down. So inhale, reach the top of your motion, exhale, rotate. That's wrong. You see, I do it all the time and I get confused. So let's start again. Clench the hand. Inhale, rotate, come to the top. Exhale, bring it down. So now when you get to the bottom of the movement, the palm of the hand is facing your hip. So let's do that 2 more times. So inhale the arm back. Exhale down. Inhale the arm up, rotate, in line with your ear and bring it down. Let's do the other side. Make a fist with your hands, come down to your hip. Inhale, rotate, bring it up to your ear and exhale. Inhale, rotate, bring it in line with your ear. Exhale down. Inhale, rotate, inhale. Okay, we're now going to come into some hip openers. So we're said to store quite a lot of emotional stress in our hips, which is a perfectly normal response to stresses and strains in the day. The body will kind of clench up. Also, a lot of us anyway, spend a lot of our time in front of computers, in cars, sitting for long periods of time, or maybe a spinner or a runner, something like that. So let me think what you're going to need. So I am going to sit on a block just to elevate my hips slightly. You can take those photo albums, those books, whatever you've got to hand. I invite you to have something else to hand as well, because in this pose we're going to come forward and we need our hands to reach onto something. So sit cross-legged, and I would like you to have your right leg in front of your left leg for this. Making sure I've got my things around me. I do. Okay. So lift up out the hips, have the spine nice and long, feel that nice lengthening in the heart and chest. Shoulders are down and away from my ears. As I inhale, I'm going to lift the arms up, and I'm just going to try and get some nice length there while keeping my shoulders down and away from my ears. As I exhale, I'm going to fold forward from my hips, keeping my body and arms in a line. And we're going to come down. Think about creating length here rather than just dropping down. And then wherever my hands come to, for me, I'm on the floor. If you are not, grab your book, your block, whatever you've got, and plant them onto something. Okay? Stay here. push those shoulders down and away from your ear. Take an inhale, plant your sit bones down onto the floor or whatever you're sat on, and inhale and lift up, creating length. And as you exhale, fold down. Think less about how far down you get and more about letting go of anything you don't need right now. We're going to take 3 breaths here. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You can keep breathing. You may feel this in your right hip. If you feel it in your left, that's no problem. It just means that, like me, you've got more tension in that left hip. On the next inhale, I want you to walk your hands in towards your body, roll your shoulders down, and let's switch sides. So we're now leading with that left leg, or hopefully the opposite leg to the one you began with. Inhale, lift up, lengthen the spine, roll the shoulders down and away from your ears, and exhale so your torso and arms are in one line. Think about creating length in the spine, and then come to rest your hands wherever they get to. Take a moment to settle in here. Then as you inhale, lift up and out of your hips, create length, and as you exhale, fold down. Inhale and exhale. Try and ensure that your sit bones are planted, rooted into whatever you are sat on. You might be feeling that now in your left hip. Think less about reaching the ground and more about letting go of whatever doesn't serve you on the exhale. Forward folds are neutralizing to the nervous system and can be good for anxiety and stress, mild depression. We're also stimulating the liver and kidneys here. You can stay here as long as you want to, or you can walk your hands up and you can come into your seated position. You can take a little twist to one side, to the other. Nice. We're going to come into pigeon pose, and then it's time for our final relaxation. So I'm going to switch sides just so you can see me in pigeon pose, but you can actually come straight into pigeon pose from your cross-legged position by, I'll just kind of demonstrate it here. That's how you'd come into it if you know the pose and you're ready to come straight into it. But I'm going to take it step by step on the side. So I'm cross-legged. By the way, if this pose seems like this isn't going to happen, I have a alternative for you, so bear with me. So you're sat cross-legged. You're going to keep the right leg bent and you're going to swing that left leg behind you and straighten it out. Good. You can come up onto your fingertips or roll your shoulders down and away from your spine. Push your heart, your chest up towards the sky. Your gaze is up towards the sky. Now, the closer that your shin bone and feet are towards your body, the easier the stretch is. So if this feels super intense, wiggle that closer in towards your hips. If you think you can go a little bit further, then you can walk that out. You do you, whatever feels good to you today. What we're working on is grounding the hips down. We want to try and avoid any kind of rotating onto one side. Now you can take your block and you can sort of shift it under a hip here. I'll show you on the other side because you can't see me there. So if you're in pigeon, inhale and look up, and then you can stay there, or if you want to take it further, we're going to go into sleeping pigeon. I'm going to come onto the ground. Can you see me there? or as close to the ground as you can. Now, rather than have your head wafting around in the air, if you haven't come to the ground, take your block, your photo album, your book, and come to rest on it, and then let the palms of the hands reach the floor. Ensure the shoulders are down and away from your ears. And we're going to take 3 to 6 breaths here. Like I said, about 30 seconds to really get the benefit of the stretch. For those that haven't seen me with the block, you'll see me because I'll go over now and to the opposite side. You're going to stay there for 3 to 6 breaths. Now, if pigeon isn't happening for you today, it's absolutely fine. I've got a really nice hip opener here that I'm going to share with you. So that is sit up. You can sit onto the fingertips so your spine's nice and long. Bend the right knee, take your hands behind you, and then you're going to cradle that right foot with your left arm. And we're just going to kind of sort of rock it, like rocking a baby, I suppose. And just work with where you might be feeling that stretch. And if you want to, you can come down. Something there, photo album. Bring your hands behind your knee and just work on that rotation in the hip. Nice. If you are in the full pigeon, come up and meet me in the centre, and we're going to take the opposite side. So if you are cross-legged, you can come straight into the other side. So now the opposite leg is going to be straight. So it's going to look like this. Hopefully you can see me there. Good. So coming onto your fingertips, roll the shoulders down and away from your ears. Remember that the closer your shin and foot is to your hips, the easier the pose is. This side is super tight for me, so this can be quite tricky. If you're feeling any sharp pain anywhere, come out of the pose. If not, try and just ease into it for a second. You can take a block and rest it on that hip, same hip as straightened leg. So if you want to take it further, creating length, folding downwards and come down onto the ground. You can use your wrists as a pillow. You can grab a block or a photo album or come down to rest on the ground. Work to ground your hips down. Try not to have them leaning up on one side. Looking for symmetry. Looking for balance. Inhale. It's the breath that's really going to start to ease the mind here. Remembering that on the inhale you're always creating length, and on the exhale you're letting go of whatever doesn't serve you. Take 3 to 6 breaths here. If you do the counter pose, do the same counter pose on the other side. And then when you're ready, meet me in the centre. We're going to go into our final relaxation. It's the classic corpse pose. Take as long as you want for this. We've eased out the mind and body. Hopefully we've got used to this rhythmic breathing. When we go into relaxation, it's completely normal that we're going to be thinking of 1,000,001 different things. So just try and ease those thoughts away. Know that there is growth and there is discipline within just being able to sit and allow ourselves to clear the mind. It's a process. Trust it. For me, I like to take a blanket or something to hand. Like I said, I like to have some soft music. Your legs are out to the side, your feet are falling out to the side. I'll just budge up so you can see me a little bit. There you go. arms away from the body, palms facing up. I tend to always have a bun in my head, and then whenever I go down into a pose, it really hurts. So I'm going to take that out. I want you to feel the ground below you supporting you. I want you to feel really nurtured and relaxed. You can place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly if that helps you to maintain your connection with your breath. As I said, you will stay there for between 5, 15 or however long you would like to today. Thank you so much for taking the time for this practice today. Well done for taking those steps towards some self-care for yourself. Thank you.